Nothing on that beat. Nope.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Sam. I work for EnviroSafe. I am a service technician and a water treatment expert. Today I got called out to this home. We're just going to overview some issues that we're experiencing in this home. Last year we installed this unit brand new. Last year the customer's neutralizing system ended up failing on him and we replaced it same day. So after we were done, it treats the entire home for acidic water damage, but before this system, it can't treat that damage, and that's where today's problem starts. So for today, we're out here for a leaking bypass. As you see, before the treatment system, this bypass is starting to drip out water. We have the water off to prevent any more water damage to the floor, but right now this is leaking out. Not only does he have copper damage over here due to the corrosive water, down the bypass itself too, you can tell by his ported check valve that brings water into his home, controls his well system, and regulates his water pressure. There's a lot of corrosion damage building up on this. It's not leaking yet, so it is the customer's preference whether we will take care of this for him today as well. In addition to that, corrosive water does a lot of damage to anything that's metal in the home. So this metal expansion tank that regulates pressure into the home, you can see that's got a lot of rust on it, and then the copper line to the home too is also experiencing minor corrosion damage. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this up to the customer, whose only concern right now is that leak, but I will bring this up to the customer and inform him of everything else going on in the home, especially with the crack on the check gauge and then the additional corrosion damage here. So after bringing the concerns to the customer decided that we just want to replace this bypass today. So my plan of action is I'm going to cut right up here, I'm going to cut right up here, remove this copper bypass and mitigate any issues of the leak from this bypass. Right now the customer doesn't want to move on from this, which is A-okay. We're happy to do whatever the customer wants us to do today. First step in changing out this bypass is we want to get rid of the water pressure in the home so we don't have a lot of water on the floor down here. So my first step is I'm going to close off the bypass from the water treatment system, and then I'm going to make my preliminary cuts. After I make those preliminary cuts, I'm going to run the faucet upstairs to drain the water pressure, and then when that starts slowing down, I can also drain it by here by opening the bypass here. And once that water pressure is drained out of the home, I'm safe to make my cuts and make sure that the homeowner's floor isn't getting soaked with water. So now that the water is depressurized from the home, I shouldn't get too much water kicked back when I cut this out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut down here to get rid of it over here, and I'm going to cut up here and I'm going to rip out this copper bypass and stop the issue altogether. Now with this copper bypass cut out, I'm free to go ahead, put on my adapters and ProPress those adapters and do the rest of this in PEX. The reason I want to do PEX is they already have enough acidic water damage on their copper lines. I want to mitigate that by doing plastic, which can't corrode with the acidic water. So now that we got rid of that copper bypass, this is going to dangle a little bit because it lost the support of the neutralizer holding it in place. But this bypass is now all plastic with stainless steel band clamps. The stainless steel band clamps won't corrode, and then the plastic also won't corrode on the acidic water. So even if the treatment expires, this stuff won't deteriorate with that acidic water coming in. And the reason why I was out here anyway was to maintain this tank. Neutralizers need to be topped off once a year and dumped and rebedded every 3 years. So this year, he's just getting a standard top on this so the material will last the rest of the year. With the tanks we install, it's actually really easy to keep up with your maintenance. You just take a flashlight up to the tank and you can see the level of material you have left in the tank. When it starts to get low, you want to give us a call and make sure you have the material to treat your home for the year. And the other part of maintenance too is this upper screen does a lot to filter out a lot of the contaminants from your well water. Every year we come out, we get off this old one that has deteriorated over time. The longer you wait, the worse it gets, and then we pop a new one right back on. All right, so I turned the well back on to get water back in the system since we depressurized it earlier. Now that that is back on, I'm going to open the main valve and let water go back to the system by opening up this bypass valve. And then on the back of our systems, we throw in a secondary bypass system to make sure that you can bypass this if there's ever any issues on these systems. We'll open that back up and let water get back into this, and then we'll do a pre-backwash just to fluff up all that brand new material in there to make sure that your water is the perfect quality water that you pay us to do. The last step is we want to double check and make sure all the bypasses are on correctly to make sure that the raw water isn't contaminating the treated water. So we want to make sure that this bypass is closed. When these bypasses are open, that lets raw water into the home, and we want to deter that from happening and make sure all the water going into the home is treated. So we make sure this one is closed, and then these ones go with the direction of the pipe, meaning that they are on and allowing water to the home. And then last and most importantly, we want to take pictures of our work to make sure that we're doing 100% satisfied work for both our company and the customer. So after refilling a tank with fresh neutralizing material, what's going to happen is you're going to have a little bit of cloudiness in your water. It's completely normal for the water to look like that, and the only way to really mitigate that is to run a bathtub or a shower for about 30 minutes after service to clear that out, or it'll dissipate as you use the water in the home. It's completely safe to consume, and it just means that your water is being treated effectively. And then at the end of any of our services, we want a water test to confirm that your water is giving you the best quality that it possibly can. So in this case, we're testing for pH, and if it turns a green color, that means it's good to go. And his pH is a 7.0. You want your pH anywhere between a 6.5 and 8.5 to avoid any of that corrosion damage that we saw on that bypass earlier. Now, if you look at the inside of that pipe right there, you'll see what corrosion damage does to copper lines. It turns it that Statue of Liberty color, and all that does is lead to pipes leaking after a long while. So if you want to take care of this damage, you have to have a neutralizer in your home, and you got to make sure that neutralizer is taken care of once a year. Top off the material and make sure that that valve is functioning effectively, and make sure that material is working for you and your home. So now that the job is done, what we're going to do is we're going to clean up the work area. We want to make sure that there's no water left on the floor and there's no debris left. Now, every time we cut out copper or water heater, there's going to be scrap with it. We take the scrap with us, we scrap it at the scrap yard, and we use that money to train new apprentices so you have more technicians trained and qualified to come out to your home and take care of you. End of the time of me being here today, she's not going to have an issue with her water treatment, and she's going to have a great experience moving forward. I'm Sam, thanks for being with me today.
So if you're having an issue with your heating, your air conditioning, your plumbing, or even your water treatment, just click the link below. We'll get an expert out to your home as soon as possible and get your problem solved. Remember, just click that link.